Good morning.
Good morning.
All right.
Good morning. Are we ready to start?
It's 8:03.
All right. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Ebony Hardy Allen. I'm the Chief Administrative Officer and Civic Engagement Program Director for the First Coast Leadership Foundation. I'd like to welcome you to our annual Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. commemorative breakfast. I will now turn it over to our CEO, Dr. Nashawn Nix.
Good morning, everybody. Hopefully, you're just as fired up as I am. When we start talking about memorials meaning that someone had to transition. And Martin Luther King is quoted for saying that if someone doesn't have a purpose to die, then they probably don't have a meaning to live. And with that being said, we want to celebrate life, love, and unity right here in the bold city of the South in Duval. Thank you for attending our annual breakfast, uh, which is virtual this year due to this global pandemic. We wanted to practice some precautions this year to keep everyone safe. Thank you so much for attending this breakfast, and hopefully you take away some great nuggets and great value for our city, its diversity, and our unity. We would like to kick things off with prayer by our board member, the Honorable Pastor R.L. Gundy.
Welcome to the annual Martin Luther King Jr. Memorial Breakfast hosted by the First Coast Leadership Foundation, Jacksonville Incorporated. I'm Tanika Hughes, evening anchor with CBS 47 and Fox 30 Action News Jax. In keeping with Dr. King's legacy, we shine a light on life, love, and unity, particularly the spirit of unity and what that means for Jacksonville. During my more than 6 years in the River City, I've had the unique vantage point of experiencing Jacksonville as a resident and a journalist, seeing our city on a macro and micro level. I've seen emerging industries and multi-billion-dollar companies like Amazon set up shop here, creating new jobs. I've seen entrepreneurs take bold risks to launch their dreams and stake their claim of the American dream. But I've also seen entire strip malls sit empty and idle. Community staples and small businesses close their doors, some even before the pandemic ravaged our economy. From shopping centers and aquariums to museums and entertainment, we've done countless stories on the million-dollar questions that have been asked for years now. What lies ahead for the future of downtown Jacksonville? What will actually be developed, and will it thrive? So many hopes and lots of excitement for the potential of the heart of our city and its picture-perfect riverfront skyline. While at the same time, data shows just blocks away in the urban core, many people living below the poverty line, unable to make ends meet. We have neighbors in outlying communities waiting decades since consolidation for infrastructure improvements. Our city has events to highlight local artisans, celebrate culture, keep us fed, entertained, and just bring us together to have a good time, like World of Nations, the Melanin Market, the Gate River Run, Riverside Arts Market, and the Jazz Fest, as well as Art Walk. But for many in our community, their reflections of our city include reminders of their tragic losses or trauma due to violence or crime. I bring up the good and the bad, the opportunities and the challenges, all in the spirit of unity, which is the key theme for this breakfast. When people think of unity, they usually think of people or things coming together, and that's true. But the other definition of unity is a totality of related parts or things coming together to form a complex whole. Our successes and failures and course of our future don't rest squarely on the shoulders of one person, but in collective voices and cooperative action. From the longtime community foot soldiers who have dedicated their lives to service and being a voice for their communities, to dynamic children and teens and young community advocates galvanizing the community through their passions and the power of technology and social media, to the strangers who answer the call to step up to feed, clothe, house, and support those in need, to those actively participating in local, state, and federal politics, and so much more. Our destiny, our future, involves us all, because at the heart of true unity is humanity. Thank you again for joining us this morning. Welcome, and I hope you enjoy the program.
Based on over 40 years of field-tested work, we created a structure that equips our members to take on their city's greatest challenges. We call this structure the Wheel of Change. The Wheel of Change is comprised of 3 functions: engaging leaders of good faith and goodwill. We move isolated individuals to collaborative engagement, building the capacity of others. We move under-resourced work to empowered action, developing joint initiatives. We move independent efforts to collective impact. When you have leaders committed to all 3 functions working together, our cities are healthier. The changes that result create real impact in real lives, cultivating the beautiful aspects of humanity. Effective leadership, transforming cities from battlegrounds to playgrounds.
Greetings, it's Dr. Nashawn Nix. The First Coast Leadership Foundation is a 501c3 nonprofit organization that provides services to various communities in Northeast Florida. We're dedicated to educate, encourage, and advocate for our neighbors across North Florida. Our local chapter of the foundation has worked tirelessly to develop joint initiatives to ensure we provide programs that will continue to build the community. Building voices through voter capacity has become a strong arm of our organization. Our organization has registered over 100,000 voters across the state of Florida. Our goals are to register, activate, and agitate voters to become civically engaged. Once voters are registered with our organization, they progress within our ladder of engagement system. This places the power back in the voter's hand while creating more voices of advocacy. Typically, when there is an election, we host several Get Out the Vote events. Our organization has hosted over 60 GOTV events since 2017. Our Healthy Punch program allows us to partner with local agencies to provide access and resources to improve health and wellness. Through partnerships with local health organizations like Agape Family Health, we provided information and resources to nearly 60,000 residents through community canvassing and phone bank efforts. Like many neighbors across the globe, the pandemic placed many families in a situation of living need. Since the pandemic began, our disaster relief department has been activated and remains active. We have provided hot meals for over 2,000 families, partnered with many leaders and groups to host farm share events, and provided rental and utility assistance to over 1,500 families. Our Mentoring to Thrive program is underway, which provides interventions, preventions, and mentoring services to at-risk youth ages 5 to 18. Through after-school and summer camp initiatives, we have a curriculum focused on STEAM, expanding and creating innovative activities that focus on science, technology, engineering, art, math, and reading. Environmental Social Governance Programs is our program that is in partnership with the United Nations, which helps us to provide climate control or disaster relief services such as food drives and post-disaster home repair. We want to continue to be a pillar of services in North Florida. We hope with your help we can continue to assist families and individuals not only to build up the community, but also help the community to thrive. Thank you for your support.
Welcome back. At this time, let us pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you right now for your book teaches us to pray for the peace of Jerusalem. Jacksonville is our Jerusalem. You say that if we pray for the peace of our city, that we shall prosper. We shall prosper together, even in the midst of a pandemic. In the theme of this breakfast, I pray for life. For our young people, they shall live and not die. For our children, they shall live and not die. And for those who may have lost a loved one throughout this pandemic, through senseless violence, we pray that they find hope in the community, knowing that they are not alone and that we are all in this together. In the spirit of love, for love conquers a multitude of faults and a multitude of shortcomings, and there is no greater commandment. And I pray that in the spirit of life and in the spirit of love, that our city continues to recover. And then I pray for unity. For your word teaches us that when the people come together, nothing shall be impossible for them to accomplish. We pray for all of our leaders, all of our elders, all of our parents, children, public servants, in each and every one in their respective places. We ask that you bless this program and all those who are participating within it, and help us to make a greater impact in our city to where we can shift our city streets from battlegrounds to playgrounds. In Jesus' name, amen.
Good morning again. Our first speaker this morning is a local historical figure, having become the first African-American sheriff in the city of Jacksonville. Dr. Nathaniel Glover served 2 terms as sheriff and retired in 2003. Dr. Glover went on to become the 29th president of Edward Waters College. He retired from his presidential duties in 2018. Dr. Glover currently sits on several boards, including One Jacks Advisory Council, and is a member of several notable organizations, including the Fraternal Order of Police and Omega Psi Phi Fraternity. I present to you Dr. Nathaniel Glover.
Good morning. Certainly, it's my honor to speak to you this morning. And this morning, I want to just talk about leadership. You know, leadership is so important as it relates to an organization. Leadership is what makes or break an organization. Now, this morning, I want to start off focusing on a spectrum of leadership called servant leadership. And when we think of servant leadership, when I think of servant leadership, I'm thinking Jesus Christ was, of course, the epitome of what I call servant leadership. A man who had all powers in his hand, a man who could heal the sick and raise the dead. But he was humble enough to wash the feet of common folk. That, to me, is the epitome of leadership. Organization that you are involved in, you are serving a group of constituency. You're in a process where you're making people's lives better, improving on their ability to cope with whatever life deals them. That itself is a big deal. But too often leaders end up thinking about it's all about them as leaders. Well, to some degree, it is about you. But to a larger degree, it's about you to the extent that you are going to do what's necessary to achieve the goals and the objectives of the organization. You're going to serve that constituency to a level where even your peer groups, people doing the same thing that you are doing, will admire the extent in which you are doing the job. What does that mean for you? You have to be the type person that people will respect. People will look at you and feel like, my goodness, I trust that individual. In addition to the people that you lead will want to be loyal to you. Now, that doesn't come free. There are some action items for you to earn that. And notice I said earn, because you can't demand it. You can demand it and think that you are actually in a position to have that kind of reaction toward you. But I can tell you right now, if you demand it and demand it because you're the boss, I can tell you that people will work while you're watching. And when you stop watching, they'll stop working. But you want to make certain that you are in a position where people will be willing to come in early. People will be willing to stay late to get the job done out of respect, out of loyalty, and out of trust for you. So I say to you, be the type leader that will do what's best for that constituency. And one of the really bad failures that I see in too many leaders, they don't know how to say no. They always want to make people happy and have people think well of them. Well, it's good to have people think well of you, but you have to earn that and not conduct your leadership spectrum in a way where people just love you because you don't have the courage to say no to them. A leader at some point has to be able to say no. Person comes to you and you know that they are not able to put a sentence together with the right subject-verb agreement and ask you about being the spokesperson for the organization. You're going to have to look them in the eye and say no. Why? Because you want to put people in positions where they will shine. I didn't say marginally do the job. I said really do the job at a higher level. And them in the job have to benefit the organization. In addition to that, you putting them in that position, it has to make you look good. And when I say you look good, and I don't mean from a selfish perspective, I mean from a perspective that people trust your judgment. Because whether you know it or not, people are talking about you. Now, 98% of that conversation, you won't even know they said, but you can shape the conversation by doing the right thing as a leader. So be the type leader where people will want to do the right thing. And remember, the word integrity implies that you will do the right thing, even when no one is watching. Thank you. I want to be certainly true to your time frame, but I wanted to leave those morsels with you so that you can be the type of leader, the effective leader that I know you are destined to be. Have a good morning.
Hello and welcome, and thank you so much for that great topic about leadership and what are some of the qualities and skills that we need to have to move forward. Thank you so much for that, Nat Glover. Again, my name is Stephen Johnson. I'm one of the board members for the First Coast Leadership Foundation. And again, we want to thank you so much for your time, for being here today and taking part of this great event. We had a great start with our introduction and then also brief history with videos talking about the things that we are doing in the community and moving forward. It is not going to stop there. Coming up next, we're going to spend a little bit of time in a video with one of our kids talking about the great services that they offer and how they are enjoying the things here that the foundation is doing in the community.
All right, we're here at the SEAL Team Social Emotional Academic Learning through martial arts with Team Nitro. Ivory, what do you enjoy about martial arts?
My roles.
And how does that make you feel?
Happy.
Yes. And what do you like about the martial arts SEAL team?
Being smart while while defending yourself.
All right. And how does that make you feel?
Great.
And what do you like about the martial arts program with SEAL team?
All the moves.
All the moves. And how does that make you feel?
Happy. I did that.
And what do you enjoy about the martial arts and the SEAL team?
Learn how to control my emotions.
And how does that make you feel to be able to do that?
A little more relief.
Awesome. Thank you. And what do you enjoy about the SEAL team?
Techniques.
The techniques? And how does that make you feel?
Like, I can do it anywhere. What? Not anywhere, but I don't know.
So you feel like you can utilize what you're learning no matter where you're at. Is that fair?
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. And Mom, you're here every Wednesday. You bring your kids. What is it that you enjoy about this SEAL team program?
Just the stability in it.
All right.
And the discipline, the teachings, the whole shebang. Just love it. All just great. Phenomenal.
All right. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Those are great testimonies of just sharing some of the things that we're doing in the community. And we cannot stop there. We need your support, and we're going to talk about that shortly. But before we go there, I'm going to go ahead and give it over to Dr. Nitz to introduce our next speaker, Dr. Diane Green.
Oh, this is with great pleasure and an honor to introduce a woman of excellence in education. On July 1st, 2018, the 20th largest school district in the nation received a new superintendent, Dr. Diana Green. She stepped into the role as the head of Duval County Public Schools with a mission to make significant changes within the district. Within the last 3 years, Dr. Green has ensured continued success of Duval's top performing schools, turned around schools facing academic challenges, provided resources for students and parents, and in the midst of a global pandemic, managed to continue learning for 130,000 students who are receiving instruction in traditional brick and mortar classrooms or virtually at home. We are so glad to have Dr. Green here with us this morning. here to provide us with some insight and encouragement to proceed in these uncertain times. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to some and introduce to others, Dr. Diana Green.
Good morning. It's an awesome pleasure and honor to be here with you this morning to talk about unity of spirit. I kind of want to start off with a story. There was this community that was struggling during the winter. They were down to morsels in each household, and they were concerned about how they were going to make it through the winter. And so one of the community members took a gigantic pot into the center of the community and started saying, hey, come and enter things into the pot so that we can make a soup. And no one really wanted to leave their house because they were afraid that if I gave something, how will my family eat the next day or the day after that? And so this individual went down to the river, put water in the pot, and he saw this big stone. And he put a stone inside the pot and started a fire. One person after another was interested in what could he be cooking in that gigantic pot. And he told the first person, oh, I'm making stone soup. And the person said, well, how can I have some of that soup? And he said, well, bring a little something and we'll add to the soup to make it better. So one villager brought a couple of carrots. Another bought some spices. Another person brought a couple of potatoes, and so on and so on. And by the end of the cooking of that soup, the person just took out the stone, threw it away, and then they were left with this huge pot of soup that could feed everyone in the community. And they were able to come back for the next day and support each other. And when I think of unity of spirit, that is what I'm thinking of, that each of us brings something to the table. There are definitions when we talk about unity that says sameness or oneness. It is not void of individuality. It is not void of diversity of thought. It is not void of different religions. We all have a cultural background that may be different from one another. But when we focus on a vision, a goal for Jacksonville to be the best community it can be, we can all come together in a unified spirit and make Jacksonville the best community, not only for our children, but for our seniors, for everyone. We have a number of problems or challenges, if you will, in Jacksonville. And if each of us would bring what our talents are, and I liken that to the stone soup. One person had carrots, the other person had potatoes. So in our community, I know that we have individuals that have talents, that if we brought them together and aligned them on the focus of what we want to accomplish, there is nothing we can't do. Jacksonville will be a beacon of hope for many other cities. I will tell you, for our children growing up in an urban city, for many of them, they need us to unify. They need us to come together and find solutions for them. As a school district, we cannot do it alone. We have to find those other talents. We have to find those other organizations that will come and join us and unify for the betterment of our students. I am so excited that this past year, we just celebrated our highest graduation rate ever at 90.2%. And even more profound is that we are closing the graduation gap. For African American students, it was at 88.5, Hispanic students, 89.5, our ESE students, 87.5. We are closing that gap and giving our students the foundation of success by having a high school diploma. And for every 5 students, 4 of them already have some form of post-secondary credits already in the bag. That comes from a unified spirit to focus on ensuring that our students are going to graduate from Duval County Public Schools, but not only graduate, but have a leg up on what they want to do in the future. So Duval, my challenge to you is, let's figure out what challenge we want to tackle, and then let's unify our talents, our diversity of thought, all the things that we have within us to solve that challenge. I am so humbled to be the superintendent for Duval County Public Schools. And part of my job is finding ways to bring the diversity of thought together for the common good of our school district. And the more I learn about our community, the more I know that we can solve any problems that we are facing in Jacksonville, because I see the talent, I see the compassion, I see the passion, I see the love that people have for this community. But passion, compassion, and love in isolation will not get us to our highest potential. We have to bring it together and align on the focus of what we envision for our community and what we envision for our children. So today, think about how you can unify your talents with an organization or with your faith-based organizations to make Jacksonville the best community in the nation. Thank you.
All right. Again, thank you, Dr. Diana Green, speaking on the spirit of unity and the importance of helping one another in those great numbers on the Duval County graduation rate. Wonderful, wonderful news. And I'm so excited to hear that. The First Coast Leadership Foundation has launched a number of projects over the last years to help the citizens of Jacksonville attain a little more breathing room during this pandemic. Here are 2 testimonials of our efforts.
Hey, this is Pastor Atlas, C.K. Rankin, the pastor of New Life Community Church here in Jacksonville, Florida. Just want to take the time to say how proud we are to have such a partnership with Dr. Nashawn Nix and the First Coast Leadership Foundation. This past summer, we had about 45 kids in our summer camp, even through the pandemic. And we normally serve these kids. The summer lunch is from the summer lunch program here in Jacksonville, Florida. And with those lunches, sometimes it's hit or miss. The kids may like them, the kids may not like them. But Dr. Nashawn Nix reached out to me, told me that they had some lunches that they would like to provide for our youth. And they provided those lunches, and my God, the youth enjoyed it extremely. I'm telling you, it was such an amazing thing that they did for us. And we're so appreciative of what they're doing over there at the First Coast Leadership Foundation with Dr. Nashawn Nix. Once again, this is Pastor Atlas Rankin here at New Life Community Church. We thank you guys so much. Thank you.
All right. And again, thank you so much for those testimonials. Here is Ebony again to introduce our third and final speaker. Actually, our final speaker is a 27-year-old Jacksonville Sheriff's Office vet. And here again is Ebony to introduce our third and final speaker.
Hey, hi. My name is Melanie Thompson, and I got some good assistance from First Coast Leadership Foundation. What kind of assistance I did receive was JEA from My Way, a traditional which makes things easier to manage. My husband and I, we didn't have the funding, so this was truly a blessing. What we did, while we did need the assistance, because we was out of work from the pandemic. It was a lot of chaos and catastrophe. So this really helped us. It was like a blessing from God to help us to pay our bills and give us peace of mind. What I think So I'm truly grateful that God has opened up a window from heaven to give these resources to us. Because without that, we would have to pay Pete, try to borrow from Peter to pay Paul. So this is truly a blessing to the community and give people peace of mind that they don't have to worry about being evicted or paying for their lights when they have funding. So this is truly a blessing. Thank you.
Hello, I'm here to introduce our third and final speaker. He's a 27-year Jacksonville Sheriff Office veteran and current Assistant Chief Derek Mitchell, has been a long-standing champion of the community. Mr. Mitchell has patrolled the streets of Jacksonville, investigated its crimes, and worked diligently to ensure the community has a voice. We are so thankful to have him here with us this morning. Without further ado, Assistant Chief Derek Mitchell.
Good morning. I seem to be having some problems with my tablet, so if I get disconnected, I'll be right back. But first of all, I want to thank Dr. Nix and the First Coast Leadership Foundation for inviting me to participate in your MLK breakfast this morning. I'm truly honored, and I didn't realize I was going to be in the presence of such greatness this morning with Sheriff Glover, who is one of my mentors, and I talk to regularly. But he just gave me more wisdom this morning as it relates to leadership, and I thank him and Dr. Green for that. So when I think of the spirit of unity today, I think that unity and the need for unity is extremely important today. Especially in my chosen profession of law enforcement. We need unity on a local level, national level, and I think that in light of a lot of things that have been going on throughout the country right now, that you're going to see an increased unity going forward because we need it. The dictionary defines unity as the state of being one, of oneness. One of my favorite quotes that I keep on my computer, and I read it every morning, is from John Maxwell, or it's been attributed to John Maxwell, and it says, "None of us are as smart as all of us. None of us are as smart as all of us." When I think of unity today, I also think of this awful COVID-19 pandemic that we've had to deal with over the past year. So many lives have been lost to this dreadful virus. I've lost friends and acquaintances to COVID-19. All of the health experts have told us that it was going to take a unified effort for us to beat this virus. And fortunately, it looks like we made some great progress and we're on the other side of it. Thank God for that. But when you think about unity as a relation to this virus, it was what have we heard continually, and we continue to hear today. Everybody's going to have to wash their hands, social distance, and wear masks. Although we have lost a lot of people to this virus, a lot of loved ones, folks following CDC guidelines and a unified effort saved the lives of so many others. Those efforts have been the epitome of unity, a living example when you look at what we're dealing with today. And I think about my profession. I mentioned that earlier, that I love and appreciate so much, law enforcement. Yesterday, we had the George Floyd verdict, where former police officer Derek Chauvin was convicted of the murder of George Floyd, and rightfully so. And I thought, and I've been thinking this for a while as the trial has been going on, where do we go from here? I immediately thought of the need and the importance of unity. I've been a law enforcement officer for 27 years, state parole and probation officer for 3 years prior to that. So I've been working in the criminal justice system for 30 years. And this is the most challenging period I've ever experienced as it relates to police community relations. Unity, the spirit of unity. It's going to take good people on all sides to fix this issue that we're dealing with now as it relates to police community relations. We need unity more than ever as a sense of oneness, all working together. Dr. Nix, when he prayed earlier, during his prayer, he said, we are all in this together. We are all in this together. When we, the good people in the community, are not working together in a spirit of unity, the only people who benefit from that are the bad guys. For safer communities where there's mutual respect across the board, that has to be what we're all striving to achieve. I've been in this profession for a long time. I'll be retiring from the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office in about 14 months, but I'm committed to working with my community in the remaining time that I have left in a unified effort to bridge the gap and improve the relationship between the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office and the community that we serve. Once again, we are all in this together. And we have to, in a spirit of unity, continue to press forward. And we have to, make this community as safe as it can be, as safe as possible. But it's going to take a unified effort to do that. And I continue to say that because public safety is a shared partnership. It's not just law enforcement, it's law enforcement and the community working together in a unified effort to address the challenges that we see every day in these communities. So in closing, I just want to once again thank you guys for giving me the opportunity to participate in this breakfast this morning. And I look forward to working with any and all. We here at the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office look forward to working with any and all in a unified effort to address the challenges that are plaguing our community. Thank you.
Again, thank you, Mr. Mitchell, about talking about the spirit of unity again, but how when it comes to safety, we all have to work together and we all can help one another, making sure that we are protected. This concludes the portion of the program for our keynote speakers. We want to thank everyone again for being here with us and giving us 3 very powerful messages on a community involvement. At this time, we will now begin the donation drive with myself and also our CEO, Nashawn Nix. At the bottom, there's a button that says donate, and you can do that by texting GIVE, GIVEMLK, to 74121. Again, this is a great program, and we talked about unity, we talked about love, and how we need help. We can't do it all, and one of the ways with your funding, with your funds, they can help us with some of the programs that you heard about. And then also when it came to our kids and how they enjoy the services, how the parents enjoy the services, and how they want them to continue. Dr. Nashawn Nix will talk a little bit while we're doing our donation drive, again, to share a little bit more light on the programs that we are offering here in the community.
It's not.
And while he's getting the audio taken care of, again, some of the programs that we offer is on the lines of the mentorship, on the lines of, like one of the pastors said earlier, we were able to give lunches to the kids who are needed, especially summertime is coming up and school is out. So when it comes to breakfast and lunches, they're now looking towards the community to help with that, and how we can help that again with the donations that you give. Some of the statistics that I wanted to share with the giving that has taken place so far is that the organization has transitioned into a new phase, again, under our leadership of the CEO, Dr. Nashawn Nix. And this year, the organization has fed 5,000 families of Duval County and provided rental and utility assistance to at least 100 individuals. And we heard that earlier on one of our testimonials, how she was so grateful that we were able to help her during the times of need, especially with jobs being cut or jobs or hours being cut less or things like that, and people are looking for employment. Also, we have registered over 100,000 volunteers since 2017. And those volunteers helped out in so many different ways in the community and bringing education in the forms of health, in the forms of getting voted and things of that nature. And we also hosted many job fairs and empowerment conferences. Again, this is all with the help of the money and the donations that you're able to give. Also, we provided mentorship to the youth and tutoring services to many of the students within Duval County. And then we also have hired 40 canvassers and made over 65,000 phone calls, dialer and phone bank, and hosted over 15 pop-up events and knocked over 15,000 doors. So as you can see, a lot of work is coming into place. And again, we can't do it without your help. Isn't that right, Dr. Nashawn Nix?
Yes, it is. I think my phone got COVID for just a second, but we found the vaccine. Listen, everyone. I don't know how else to say this. You've heard the testimonials, you've seen our youth, our babies, and you've heard our stages of impact. Sometimes in order to be efficient, it can be expensive. And when you look at our stages of impact based on the dollar, we're able to provide what you call that wraparound support, that holistic service. And we're asking for your support to partner with us. We're very grateful for those who have already sponsored and already donated to help us progress our mission and progress our vision. This is an all hands on deck effort when we start talking about fundraising. And like I said, every little bit helps. Our goal is to raise $50,000. We do want to put a special thank you out there to JTA for supporting our efforts, and all the others that have also cut checks to help us to continue to fund our programs to where we're able to have long-term sustainability. What that means is that this is not seasonal type work that we do. This is year-round work. When we look at Mentoring to Thrive, we're not just mentoring the youth during a particular season. This is a year-round service, year-round engagement, where we're able to be that bridge between the child and the teacher. We're able to be that bridge between the child and the parent, because we want overall success, and that's what you call community engagement, and those are the type of things that we need in order to ensure that our city is thriving. We're very grateful for all of our supporters. Please text that give to give MLK to 74121. Please text give MLK to 74121. One of the things that I like to do for those of you that are watching is that if you could see my hand and if you could just open your hand, to me, this is what I would call division. The fingers are divided, and divided, we fell. But when you pull that fist together, that's unity. That's united, and united, we prevail. So divided we fell, united we prevail, and this is an all hands on deck effort for us to work to a greater capacity right here in the urban core, and we have a ripple effect throughout the city of Jacksonville. Please know that when our youth and our adults come into the First Coast Leadership Foundation, we call this our communiversity, because we are enhancing, we are elevating, we are advancing. And just in case you didn't know some of our initiatives, I want to read them out to you. Number one is Mentoring to Thrive, and that's for youth ages 5 to 18, which are some very critical ages, very critical stages of impact when it comes to influence. And we want to make sure that we're helping our youth build that self-determination. That self-determination deals with that confidence. It deals with that competence, and it deals with community. And we want to make sure that our youth know that they have a great stake in the wellness and well-being of our city. Let's flip the narrative in our city. Let's really help shift our streets from battlegrounds to playgrounds. Not only that, we have empowerment to mentorship. When we look at empowerment to mentorship, that's where we're reaching out to our adults. And I'm not ashamed to say it, I have mentors as an adult, and I need mentors as an adult. Some communities call them elders. I mean, we got to make sure that we're building that social capital, to where we got folks that are constantly reaching up, and at the same time, they're also reaching back to make sure that nobody is isolated, especially when it comes to this pandemic. When we look at empowerment, if you're not if you don't need a mentor, then you should be mentoring, and it creates that will of change. It keeps us going in that reciprocal matter, to where this is not just charity. For the First Coast Leadership Foundation, we have shifted our model from a charity-based nonprofit to a social capital enterprise nonprofit, because we're not just giving people fish. We're teaching them how to fish. And that's what empowerment is. That's why we do our job fairs. That's why we do professional and personal development. That's why we do our conferences, because we want to keep the community engaged and aware of the avenues that they may not even know are possible. Healthy Punch. Punch is an acronym for Prevention Under Nutritional Clinical Health. As you know, right here in the urban core, we have the highest concentration of minorities and African Americans in the city of Jacksonville. When we look at things that systemically impact African Americans, when you start looking at high blood pressure, hypertension, high cholesterol, stroke and diabetes, sickle cell, asthma, Crohn's disease, any of these particular challenges, when you add COVID to it, it becomes lethal. And our goal is to continue to build and to continue to empower and to continue to make our community healthier. Okay. And then we go into affordable housing. As you know, home ownership is vital when you start looking at stability and being a stakeholder. And I'm always getting advice from our local CDCs as to what they are expecting from our residents, so that way we can build that social equity, where we can provide that revitalization, where we can develop our communities, and at the same time build that stable foundation for our youth to be successful. Another one of our initiatives is environmental social governance. Environment pertains to the planet, social deals with the people, and governance deals with the politics. We got to continue to build that awareness and that engagement. But the way that we keep the ball rolling, the way that we keep making a great impact, is through your giving and through your participation and through your partnerships. So please text GIVE MLK to 74121. Please text GIVE MLK to 74121. Another one of our initiatives is the Business Incubator. I believe that every person should have basically a 9-to-5, which is where you work to develop your skill sets, develop your craft per se, right? And then once you finish your 9-to-5, we want you to come to the First Coast Leadership Foundation, and we want you to cultivate your 5 to 9, which is your business. We're right here in the urban core. We're in health zone 1. We're in empowerment zone. We're in the hub zone. We're in a foreign trade zone. We want to help cultivate entrepreneurs. And like I said, building that social capital, making people aware of the opportunities that they may not even have fathomed. And like I said, we want to start young. We want to start early, but we just don't want to work with the younger generation. We want to work intergenerational. We want to build the capacity for that household. All right. When we look at community advocacy, as you already know, we help register over 100,000 voters. Not only that, we help mobilize hundreds of thousands of voters for our last presidential election. And the goal is to keep people engaged of policy, bills, appropriations, because like I said, if there's no shared accountability, then we really don't have community. And like I said, these type of services through the First Coast Leadership Foundation can only be possible through supporters like you. I would like to share a quote from Martin Luther King. He says, "Our slogan must not be burn, baby, burn, but build, baby, build. Organize, baby, organize. Our slogan must be learn, baby, learn, so that we can earn, baby, earn." That's building social capital. That's setting our youth, our communities, and our families up for success. Like I said, our stages of impact are also on our website, fclfjax.org. But at this time, we need your support. Please text GIVE MLK to 74121. GIVE MLK to 74121. I've seen our youth from so many different aspects. I can give you so many different testimonies of how our foundation is breaking what's called cycles and unhealthy behaviors through interventions and preventions. At one of our men's conferences, we had a 10-year-old and 11-year-old from the Blodgett homes. And at this particular conference, we had doctors, we had business owners, we have financial advisors, we have health professionals, we have motivational speakers. And this is what this young man said to me afterwards. He said, "I've never seen Black men be nice to each other." And exposure broadens perspective. Our youth can only perform to the level that they've been prepared. And I believe through your support and through your donations and through your contributions and through your partnerships, that we can really help shift the trajectory for a lot of our youth. Yes, and Dr. Green gave us some great numbers pertaining to the graduation rate. I'm so elated. And then even listening to Chief Mitchell, some of you may be familiar with the phrase Twilight Board. I'm like excited because he says that he's looking to retire in X amount of months, but he's not done working. He hasn't given up on Jacksonville. He hasn't given up on our city. He hasn't given up on service. And even with a former Sheriff Nat Glover talking about servant leadership, we want to continue to give our youth a zeitgeist. We want to give our youth a point of reference to help take our city to the next level. But it happens through contributions. It happens through support. It happens through partners. So please text GIVE, GIVEMLK, to 74121. And I'm Dr. Nashawn Nix, the CEO of the First Coast Leadership Foundation. And I believe that concludes my time.
Awesome. Again, thank you so much for the testimonials. And again, like he said, we cannot do it by ourselves. We need your help. And again, you can text GIVE, GIVEMLK, to 74121. And again, we thank you in advance for your generous donations. And now we have concluded the program, and we're going to give it to our executive team and also Dr. Nashawn for our last thank yous and closing out of the program today, the Memorial Breakfast.
All right. Thank you. I want to say thank you. Can you hear me? Hello? I want to say thank you to everyone that logged in, tuned in, joined in, supported, donated, participated in today's virtual MLK breakfast / fundraiser. I want to give a special thanks to our COO, Chief Operating Officer, Mr. Ciatis Jackson, the lovely Miss Ebony Hardy Allen, our Chief Administration Officer, our Executive Admin Assistant, Miss LaTroy Miller, our Data Coordinator and Assistant to the COO, Miss Erica Hansberry, our organizing team, Jamel Collins, Mina Alay, Jabbar Washington, Troy Squire, Ja'Cory Garvin, and our phenomenal guest speakers, Dr. Nathaniel Glover, Dr. Diana Green, and Chief Derek Mitchell, and our participating board member on this morning, Mr. Stephen Johnson. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. We're in this together, and we're going to get through this together. And thank you so much for your participation and attending our virtual MLK Memorial Breakfast and Fundraiser. God bless you.
Again, I want to say thank you and reiterate what our CEO, Dr. Nashawn Nix, said. Thank you for all the participants. Thank you for everyone that gave. And I want to thank our staff here. Again, our organizers, our executive leadership team, our administrative assistants, and our board member that participated in this program today. Again, we'd like to thank you, and we hope to see you next year at this annual breakfast. Thank you, and you have a wonderful day.